you're struggling to beat team press, aka 71 depth, then I've got you covered. This is a complete guide to beating team press in EAFC 24. Now, if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you doing? I'm hitting you with tutorials day in, day out throughout the year of EAFC, so be sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. Can we do it? Let's get into it. Now, this tutorial will be broken up into a total of 8 segments. It's hugging the sideline, utilizing your goalkeeper, utilizing the lob pass, the driven lob pass, calling your players short, Tiki-taka passing tutorial, avoid tunnel vision, and thinking 2 or 3 passes ahead. Now, each of these will have certain techniques that you will need to abide to when it comes to learning this. And first up, we have hugging the sideline. Now, with this particular technique, on the D-pad, if you press up and then to the side, what will happen is all of your players will essentially hug the sideline, specifically your wider players in the formation. What this does is it causes your whole team to spread out a lot further apart, making it harder for your opponent to press you. And with this technique, often it is best to essentially abuse the wing. And that's because your players are out wider, which means there'll be more passing options out wide. And building up out wide is the more viable way of getting away from press rather than the center. And come back into the center afterwards when you're looking or struggling for passing options. For the majority of the time, they will be out wide once you have the sideline. It will just basically spread out your team, make it harder for your opponent to press you. We then have utilizing your goalkeeper. Now, why this is so significant is because people forget about their goalkeeper. And when you think about it this way, there's 11 players on each side, but 10 of those players are outfield players. And when you're being pressed, what happens? Each of the 10 players of your opponent begins to mark or press the 10 players on your squad. But the goalkeeper of your opponent doesn't press your goalkeeper, does he? No, he stays in his own goal. So there is always a free player, and that is your goalkeeper. And if you're struggling to get away from press, you can pass back to the goalkeeper. From there, because each of the 10 players of your opponent is marking each of the 10 players of your own, what will happen is he will be forced to then press the goalkeeper with one of his attackers. What does that mean? Well, it means one of your defenders will be free, because that attacker is pouncing on the goalkeeper. You can then lob it in to that defender, and then it's a process of playing cat and mouse. The midfielder will then be free once he is forced to press the defender on the ball with the midfielder, and so on. So there will always be a player free if you utilize this technique, but not many people do. Utilizing the lobbed pass. Now, why this is significant is because a lot of people don't utilize the L1 and LB lob passing technique, which is super viable for lifting it above approaching defenders. It's so important that you use the L1 button to lift it to the attacker that you're attempting to hit. A lot of people just normally press the lob button, but it's not high enough, and at times it'll be blocked by the approaching defender. The L1 lob, on the other hand, is a very useful tool for getting away from press, because there will sometimes be one of your attackers offering for the ball in a pocket of space, and you can hit him with this technique. We then have the driven lobbed pass. Now, this is performed by holding in R1 and L1 at the same time whilst pressing the lob button. It'll be a hard, driven, and relatively low cross across to the attacker that you're attempting to hit. But the best thing about it is it's super useful for switching the ball quickly. And what I will say is, and what you will learn later on in this tutorial, switching the ball and maneuvering the ball very quickly is one of the most crucial aspects of getting away from press. And this lob technique is very effective for that. You can cross across the pitch from one wing back to the other in a quick fashion without using regular passes, and it will allow you to bypass the press. We then have the technique of calling a player short. Now, people don't use this technique either. If they're struggling for passing options, they don't think to call a player short towards them. But that's a very important technique for getting away from press, because if you don't have any options to pass to, then where are you going to go? So the R1 technique is what I recommend. All you need to do to call players towards you is point the left stick towards a player you want to run towards you to offer a passing option, and tap R1 or RB, and he will run towards the ball carrier. This will give you more passing options, allow you to bypass the press. Tiki-taka passing. Wowee. If I can give you one tip in this tutorial, it's the significance of being quick with your passing and usually attempting to make first time passes when you're building up and getting away from press. People at times will spend too long on the ball. They don't think to pass ahead and think ahead 2 or 3 passes, which I will go into very shortly. No. They're very narrow visioned. They don't look around for their options, which is super important for getting away from press. And tiki-taka passing allows us to do that. You need to make first time passes. This will allow you to bypass the approaching defenders and tiki-taka around them. Tiki-taka away from them. Which brings me into tunnel vision. You need to avoid tunnel vision. If you're wanting to pass around press, you need to start looking around the pitch for options. You need to start thinking 2 or 3 passes ahead. If you don't do this, then you'll be stuck on the ball and squeezed off the ball. You need to think ahead. What pro players are doing is they're thinking where they're going to go next so that they can attempt to pass around the pressing opponent and think ahead of them. By doing this, you will be able to bypass the press. And it involves actively looking around, not just focusing on the player on the ball or the defenders around him, but also focusing on where your passing options are before you make those passes. This will allow you to bypass press and essentially bypass constant pressure. Now, if you want to get personal one-on-one coaching with me, you can. The link is down below. In my opinion, it's better than spending money on FIFA points, because at the end of the day, a better team is not going to make you a better player. It's how you use that team. It's your skill and ability as well as mentality that will improve your game and get you better results, which will get you better rewards to get a better team. So check that out. The link is down below, but I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, salam, ciao, goodbye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then I'd really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. And lastly, if you do want any pre-gaming fuel or supplement, then head over to atpscience.com, which is the first link in the description, and use the code DylanEtsATP at checkout to get yourself a discount. Not only is it the cheapest way to get supplements, but it helps me out a ton, guys, so thank you.